want to express the anguish and the horror of our entire nation at the terrorist attack yesterday in our nation's capital, in which a savage monster gunned down 2 service members in the West Virginia National Guard who were deployed as part of the D.C. task force.
There are stories that feel too twisted for fiction, and yet Washington is living one right now. The man suspected of gunning down 2 National Guard members, Rahmanullah Lakanwal, wasn't just another name on a charging sheet. Officials now confirm he once belonged to a CIA-backed paramilitary force in Afghanistan, one of the notorious Zero units.
There is confirmation now that the subject had a relationship in Afghanistan with partner forces. We are fully investigating that aspect of his background as well, to include any known associates that are either overseas or here in the United States of America.
Online, an ID badge has been ricocheting across feeds, claiming Lakanwal served in the Kandahar Strike Force, the elite 03 unit, a shadow outfit operating out of Firebase Gecko, a CIA and Special Forces fortress built inside the former home of Taliban founder Mullah Omar. A symbol of how deep and tangled America's 2-decade war in Afghanistan really was. And today, that tangle is tightening. CIA Director John Radcliffe has confirmed Lakanwal did work with the U.S. government, he did work with the CIA, and he was part of a partner force in Kandahar.
That the suspect worked very closely with the CIA in Afghanistan for years, that he was vetted, and the vetting came up clean.
He went cuckoo. I mean, he went nuts. And that happens, too. It happens too often with these people. You see them. But look, this is how they come in. This is how they're standing on top of each other. And that's an airplane. There was no vetting or anything. They came in unvetted. And we have a lot of others in this country. We're going to get them out. But they go cuckoo. Something happens to them.
For years, the Zero units operated behind blackout curtains. Afghan nationals trained, armed, and shaped by the NDS, an intelligence agency built with U.S. support. They answered to American handlers, they carried American weapons, and they carried out missions too sensitive for public acknowledgement. A former Afghan general says the 03 unit, Lakanwal's alleged outfit, was one of the most active and professional in the entire country. Precision raids, high-value targets, a force feared in every village where its night vision goggles appeared in doorways. Feared also for a darker reason. These units were long accused of crossing the line, extrajudicial killings, brutal raids, operations that left civilians dead and questions unanswered, allegations that shadowed America's counter-terror campaign through the final years of the war. But inside U.S. intelligence circles, the Zero units were considered indispensable, the most trusted Afghan partners America had. And today, that legacy has collapsed into a single nightmare headline. One of those men now stands accused of shooting 2 American service members on U.S. soil, just blocks from the White House. A twist of geopolitics, wartime alliances, and fractured vetting now erupting in tragedy on Thanksgiving week. From the battlefields of Kandahar to the streets of Washington, this story isn't just about one suspect. It's about a system that built him, and a country now racing to understand how he got here.
First and foremost, our hearts go out to the victims and their families. These are dedicated service members who were performing their duties in service to our nation, and they are currently in critical condition. They have undergone surgery. We pray for their well-being as they continue to be cared for in the best possible way. We have been in constant contact with their families and have provided them with every resource needed during this difficult time. The 2 National Guards men that we're talking about are Sarah Beckstrom, who's 20 years old, and Andrew Wolf, who is 24 years old. They were uniformed members of the West Virginia National Guard, and they were in D.C. to keep D.C. safe. He has been identified as Rahmanullah Lakanwal. a 29-year-old Afghan who entered the United States under Biden's Operation Allies Welcome, a program following the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. He resided in Bellingham, Washington, with his wife and, we believe, 5 children. What we know about him is that he drove his vehicle across country from the state of Washington with the intended target of coming to our nation's capital. This is what happens in this country when people are allowed in who are not properly vetted.
As the judge noted, this is a coast-to-coast investigation being led right here in Washington, D.C., and this subject definitely did pick the wrong country. And we will rise together as a nation to show the world what we do here. And we are thankful that we have the Attorney General's brave leadership and President Trump's brave leadership and priorities to safeguard our communities. The judge said this individual is in this country for one reason and one reason alone, because of the disastrous withdrawal from the Biden administration and the failure to vet anyway, in any way, shape, or form, this individual and countless others. And this administration has taken the rightful step to stop any further allowance of people with this similar background into the country, and we're thankful for that.
I want to be very clear what the judge and everyone has reported here. Somebody drove across the country, came to Washington, D.C. to attack America. And that person will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. These young people should be at home in West Virginia with their families.
As we stand here today, the charges that are appropriate right now are 3 counts of assault with intent to kill while armed, a violation of D.C. Code 22-401 and D.C. Code 22-4502. He will also be charged with possession of a firearm during a crime of violence. He faces 15 years under the assault with the intent to kill. We intend to continue monitoring what the charges will be, depending upon the well-being of the guardsmen. We are praying that they survive and that the highest charge will not have to be murder in the first degree. But make no mistake, if they do not, that will certainly be the charge, murder in the first degree.